Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good morning, afternoon, or wherever it's at where you're listening and checking in. I am Sandra Covington. I am the wife of an over the road truck driver. I'm an author and speaker, and we come on weekly and we talk about the life of the truck driver wife, what we go through while they're out there on the road, what we experience, the challenges, ups and downs, and how we handle and maintain the home front while our spouses and partners are out there risking their lives, filling the shelves, driving in all of the elements. Thank goodness, winter is kind of past, thank God, and now we're into summer, so we don't have to deal too much with too much of the winter elements out there, but now we got the summer elements, and we check in. I let you guys know where my driver is at, my husband George is at this week, what we've been through over the last week, how we've dealt with certain obstacles that went through, just to help to share that for those of you in the industry, you are not alone. We are going through it just as well as you're going through it. As I said, I am the author of The Truck Driver's Wife, Holding Down the Home Front, and it is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, iTunes, and Google Play. I do come on here and we talk about life. Just to pause there, we talk about life and our life in this trucking industry. It's not just trucking, it's kind of marriage. It's what we're going through. Last week we talked about trust, and trust doesn't have to just be about trust in a trucker's industry. It can be trust in any relationship, marriage, or relationship. And we talk about, like a few weeks ago, we talked about that third chapter in the book, our miscarriage and our decision not to have children. So, in that, doesn't have to just be something within the trucking industry. It could be something that, all of us experience, from may have experienced from time to time. So, I like to come on and share my experiences, what we go through here at home, how we handle it on our end. And as I always say, the disclaimer, this is my point of view. This is how I handle everything. Maybe the way I handle it may not be the way that you handle it. But I just want to, as I always say, you are not alone. We are all experiencing things. So like I said, we come on weekly. I thank you for those of you that have subscribed, that follows, that comments, that let me know, hey, I have a question about something. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and continue for your love and your support with supporting me in this transition. I did reach out to the young lady I was speaking to last week about trust. Trust was not, I'm not going to say it's a hard thing to discuss and or a hard thing to explain, because we all have our own dish versions, or our own versions, our own definitions of certain things. The way it's not hard to explain trust. Well, actually, correction. It may be a little hard to explain it, because to me, like I said, it's that feeling. It's the know. We all can read the book and get the definition of things, but it's and if you have that gut feeling, or that, as they say, that third eye, if you have that, then ask questions. Ask questions. You want to ask questions. You don't ever want your spouse, your partner, or whoever you're in your relationship with to be like, dude, why you just didn't ask me? Just ask, and then you know which way to go with the response you get. And communicate, just talk and ask. So yeah, I did reach back out to them. We talked a little bit, kind of helped a little bit on with the person with the question, and I pray and wish them all the best in that relationship. We talked about previously, as far as mechanical. And I'm not going to jinx myself this week. We did not have any mechanical issues this week. Uh, Actually, scratch that. Knock, knock. We did have a tire, but I think that was last week. I think that was last week. But there was nothing crazy this week. We are still working on that part, and I did put a picture of the part in the on the channel. So we haven't got the part painted yet. Like I said, we need to build up our maintenance account again based on those few last 2 months of expenses that we've had. So we are still working on getting that. Hopefully by the end of the summer we can get that part painted. And he says that me and him will be installing it on the truck. We'll have to talk about that, guys. And if anybody wants to come and help, woo, come and help. But yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so we still haven't got the part fixed yet. So we're painted yet. So we're working on that. The summer this May, we talked about that they're doing DOT inspections out there in the road. So for those of you that made it through without getting inspected, yay, that was us too. We did not get any pullovers for inspection these last few weeks. Thank you, Jesus. And for those of you that passed, yes, keep it safe out there because even though it's not inspection week, they are still out there watching you guys. And we definitely want to make sure that one, our vehicles are safe for the highway, and two, you don't let it get too bad to where your vehicle is not safe, you get pulled over. And we know the domino effect with getting pulled over. For those of you guys who don't know, the drivers can get pulled over for anything. Well, not anything. Your tire pressure too low, your tire tread too low, your air bag is leaking, and that airbag has to do with there's an airbag to the brakes on the trailer and the tractor. So if there's a hole in those, they can get pulled over for that because that if that air isn't pumping through, it affects their brake stuff. So they get oil leaks. They can pull them over for a lot of things, and you want to make sure that it does not happen because if they get pulled over, they can shut them down for 10, 12, or until it's fixed. And if you're shut down until it's fixed and you were on your way to drop a load, I don't have to spell it out. You're going to be delayed on dropping that load, which means now you're going to pay a fine to the warehouse because you're late. It's like a crazy domino effect. And if you're home, me as the wife is waiting on that load to get dropped to get paid, so we can take care of, so I can take care of some finances here. That's not happening. So it's a big domino. So you definitely want to make sure that everything is taken care of as best as your ability so that way it does not happen because you do not want to get stopped out there. And and they watch you guys. They really do watch our drivers and partners. With the summer, as I mentioned, with the summer coming up, those roads are going to be hot out there. And you guys know we are in Arizona. So between Arizona, Cali, Nevada, Colorado, those roads are hot and they take a toll on our tires. And so you definitely do not want any tire blowouts because again, from getting shut down from the Department of Transportation in the middle of, let's say, freaking nowhere, now you're shut down for whatever maintenance because inspection that you didn't pass or you had a tire. Now you're in a freaking nowhere. So you're sitting there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours waiting on a wrecker, and a wrecker are those larger tow trucks that we see, waiting on a wrecker to come out, which a wrecker is not coming out for base rate $600, $700. That's just flat. That's even before they even hook your truck up, $600, $700 just to come out there. So now you've sat out there for 6 or 7 hours for that wrecker to come. He comes out there. If he can't fix or do something to get you rolling, now they're going to hook it up and tow you to the nearest place. Ching ching, let the like the dollar signs ring. Now it's adding up. So that's even more money. Now just remember the load that you're supposed to be dropping within the next 3 or 4 hours that now you're not going to drop, that you're going to get, you know, dinged for because it's going to be late. So that's money out the pocket. The wrecker, he wants his money right off the top. Whatever maintenance repairs it needs going to it adds up. So again, I cannot stress alone maintenance account, maintenance account, maintenance account, maintenance account because it just adds up. And in our little cars, I got a cute little Kia Optima, and my little truck, my little license plate says trucker wife. So if you guys see me out there, and for our little bit, it's not as as large. It's just think of it like add two or three more dollar signs or zeros behind what we pay as opposed to what's paid out there. So you definitely want to make sure that you got that maintenance account and you take care of it. So when he's home, we kind of do like a little overview of the truck, or a little walk around, our little inspection and everything, because it's best to take care of sometimes the stuff when you're home as opposed to taking care of it when you're out there on the road. Out there on the road, it can be like a little more, well, actually, not a little bit. It'll be a little pricier than where if you could take care of it at home. Plus, you're not paying for the record. It's going to come and tow you because you did not take care of it and now you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So that's kind of where a little overview of maintenance, and we'll talk about maintenance pretty much every week. We'll talk about it because the questions come up, and you definitely if you have the questions, I'm gonna try to add as much as I can. Hopefully, George will be back in the next couple of weeks, and we'll sit down here and let's talk to him about maintenance and records and everything out there that he goes through. We'll keep the questions aside. Uh, let's see where he's at this week. He left here. Actually, guys, he's been gone since May, about the first week in May. And the reason why he's out a lot longer is because we have a friend's wedding coming up in a couple of weeks, and then we have a family camping trip like a few weeks after that. And so the discussion we had before he left was like, look, babe, I'm going to need to be out a little bit longer because I need to make sure that we are covered for that downtime that he's going to be down for the wedding, and that he's going to be down when he comes back a couple of weeks later for the camping trip. So we talked about it, and again, what's that keyword? Communication. You know, so we talked about it. It was like, hey, are you okay? That I'm going to be down. I'm like, dude, I got this. We are going to be okay. So yeah, he's been gone for a minute, for a couple of weeks. However, he picked up a load in Salt Lake City and was taking it to Austin, Texas. And I thought he was going to come down from Salt Lake and go through the 40 Flagstaff and cut through. But actually, nope, I got a surprise that night. He came down a little deeper to the 10 freeway, and he spent the night at home, and we had dinner. He showered, washed clothes, got refreshed and everything, and then he rolled out the next day. But it was like really cool, like, oh my god, I got a surprise. Like, guess what? It was like one of those calls, like, guess what, where I'm at. I'm like, I don't know where you're at. I'm not online to see where you're at. And sure enough, he's like, I'll be there in about an hour. Can you come and get me? And I'm just like, yeah. However, to put that on a pause, this past Saturday, remember I told you guys I was speaking in Buckeye. So when he told me he was coming in, it was on Friday, and I was in Buckeye picking up a shirt, getting a look at the event where I was speaking, and just you like to go see where you're going to be speaking at before, discuss with the coordinator how the flow is going to get a copy of the agenda. So that's where I was at, when I got the call that, hey, guess what? I just passed Buckeye. Where are you? How much longer are you going to be? I'm like, what do you mean how much longer I'm going to be? He goes, oh, well, I just don't know how much longer you're going to be because I'm home for the night. And I just like, yeah, right. Like, oh, dude. And so, yeah, it was like, okay, well, then on the downside, dude, you didn't tell me, so I didn't cook. I didn't know you were coming home, so I'll have to get home and, whip something up. I think, oh, I had baked some chicken the night before, so I just add some veggies to it. And, he had a little short meal before we, turned in. And Saturday morning, I headed to my event to speak, and he headed the opposite direction of the 10 freeway to Austin. So he left, and he was in Austin. Got to Austin and made the drop. Found out that the loads are really hot in Texas right now, and so he's going to hang around Texas for a little bit and hopefully make that ching ching so we can build those accounts up again. So that is where he's at right now. He's in Texas, and actually, I am. We might even meet up because I'm heading to Dallas overnight and be back the next day. So hopefully, we may be able to meet up in Texas. Now, where are we at this week? this week, the question that came in was woo, organization. How do I stay organized? And I'm just going to start at the top. I and think I am organized until I have to go look for something. And then I find out I'm not organized, or I'm not as organized as I think I am. When we started the business all over again, I went, we have our email from the business and we drive for multiple companies. So I said, you know what, I'm going to set up a folder in Outlook for each company we drive for. So that way I can drag over the loads into their folder and kind of stay organized that way and drag them over. So each company had its own folder. That was one step. This is what I did. I'm going to tell you guys what I did and where I'm at right now because we learn as we grow. So I did that, and then I have went to Staples and got a thing for binder and stuff, a little crate for with little file folders that I was going to put in there because I'm a tree. I print. I print also, even though the loads are in the email that I'm dropping in there, I'm still printing them too because I need to see them also, and I need to snap a copy of that over to our freight folder for freight for Blue Triumph, the company that pays the loads out after we drop. So I do a snapshot over to them after he finishes to them. So that's why I print it out also, so that way I can do it. So I'm kind of double dipping, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm working on that. This is 2 weeks in. So I started off with doing the folder, then I had a separate folder, and the file where after it's dropped, I put it in there. And then when he comes home, and I should have took a picture of this week, because when he comes home, guys, they have what they call bill of ladings out there. So after they leave the shipper or the warehouse, they have to sign the sheet that it was dropped and that they authorized to drop. And then that's what he keeps. And we hold that. And he sends me a picture of it and so forth. So when he gets home, every load that he dropped, he has the bill of lading for each load that was signed by the warehouse. And then I have my printouts of each load that we did also. So I have a on the pile of paper on the table, and I'm matching it together, the bill of lading with the rate sheet, snap, staple, and I'm putting those together. And then I'm putting them back in the file folder for if we need it. You got to have a paper. You got to keep the paper. So that comes with the load information that we keep. Now, in the beginning, like I said, I was doing a folder in each email folder. I was creating an Outlook. I had a folder in the thing in the file where I was trying to create a separate folder for each company. The second year after I met with the tax guy and I found out what they needed and what they did not need. I didn't need all that. I found out I was doing too much. Of course, I need to keep everything because I might have to go back and look for something, or we can always get a call from a warehouse saying, "Hey, look, I didn't pay. The load was damaged, or something. So I have to keep it, but I didn't have to keep it as detailed as I thought I had to keep it. So as far as the loads, guys, just keep them. Make sure you get the bill of lading, the rate sheet stapled together, and you do it by month. So that way, if you're looking for something that was dropped in that month, you can go through that month. So I only have a file folder for 12 separate folders, 12 separate months. So, and that's my file folder. I didn't need it to do a separate folder for each company. And believe me, we drive for, holy crap, we've driven for over 20 plus different companies because you go where the money's at. Who's offering the biggest bang for the buck? We go there. So, yeah, I didn't need to do it like I did. So that's going into the second year. And it's that's a lot easier. Now that's the organization for the loads. Now the organization for the receipts. He comes in, he has a stack of receipts for fuel receipts, and then he has a stack of receipts for any purchases that he does out there because all that is tax deductible also. So we have the fuel receipts. off to the side. On the other side, we have any additional purchases. We have Walmart purchases for food while he's out there on the road, any maintenance, any um, uh, oil or something he needed for the truck. Uh, I said food, clothing, any separate expense that he does out there. Then I have a separate stack for that. So he comes home, he has the fuel receipts stacked here. I don't even go through those, staple them, staple together. The other receipts, I kind of separated because if there's any maintenance receipts in there, I need to pull that to the side. Everything else I can staple together because it's kind of covered under the per diem thing. So I kind of staple those together, and any maintenance I put aside. So I got three separate, oh, maybe four if he did a hotel stay out there. I got a separate stash for that. I mean, pile for that. So I got a pile for hotel, maintenance, everything miscellaneous else, which is Walmart, food, you know, any of that. And then I have a separate pile for the fuel receipts. Now that's what four separate piles. I That has not changed. However, the fuel receipts I found out after my first year is that I really didn't have to keep them as detailed as I was because we use the truck stop Lubs, Flying J, and every once in a while we'll, pay for ourselves, but it's easier to use the Lubs and Flying J because at the end of the year, dude, I get a statement. I get an annual statement. So it's all right there as far as everything we paid. So the receipts, I didn't need to go through as much as I was. So, but we learn all this going forward. So the receipts, I didn't, yes, I keep them staple. They're in a little plastic thing. And then at the end of the year, I keep them all together and I put them together with with our yearly files. But I didn't need to keep it as detailed as I was, which I was keeping them by month, by this. And it was just like, no. So I found out that organization on that level kind of eased up a little bit. However, the organization on the fuel, I'm not the fuel, the maintenance and hotel, I'm working on that because I keep that all together in one thing, one section. And then at the end of the year, I take them all together and I create a spreadsheet of the hotel expenses, the rent a car, not the rent a car, hotel expenses, the maintenance expenses. So then I break those up because I found out that the tax guy kind of needs a little breakdown of those. So the things that he needs a breakdown of, I try to keep separate, but the things I don't need a breakdown of, And remember I told you guys, in our, maybe I think our second chat in February that remember I was going crazy looking for 1099s and I thought I needed to keep a separate spreadsheet of everybody we drove from, how much we made for them, and then match that to the 1099 that I thought I was going to get from each of them. Guys, there's no more 1099s that they need from each of these people. I was racking my brain crazy trying to find on that first year of tax, trying to get every dollar amount to the penny of the everybody we drove from, and then calling trying to get 1099s, and it was like I didn't need those 1099s, and I wish my Aaron, the tax guy, would have told me that like 3 weeks earlier, but we learned so that's, and I don't need that. And remember, we have a freight forwarder who pays out all of our loads. You know where I'm going now. So because they pay out all of our loads at the end of the year, I get a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is actually has each company that we've driven for, the total amount we made for each company. Yeah. So that saves. So I didn't have to go back in and pull all of those rate sheets that I had set and and do the spreadsheet and all that stuff. Yeah, and I know that those are correct because I match them based on when I submit them and how they're funded because remember they're funded within 24 hours. And once they're funded, I match it in a thing and I file it away. If it doesn't match, then okay, yeah, I'm sending an email or calling and saying, "Hey, look, I sent over this sheet and we were supposed to get paid this amount of money. However, it came back this amount of money." So that's all taken care of like right there. So that it's that's a small level of organization. Now I'm doing this as far as the rate sheets and all that stuff every time he comes home. So every time he comes home, which is normally on an average every 5, 7 days, this month is going to be a little longer, so I'm not going to have a bigger stack of rate sheets of sheets. But every time he comes home, that is 2 to 3 hours of our night where we're sitting at the table, going over the receipts. I'm stapling it all together, putting it all together, and putting it away. Whew. Yeah, that's my second, third job. And then after that, it's all done. I don't have to look at it anymore because we've already been paid on it. Because remember, we're paid 24 hours after we drop the load, so we're already paid it. So I've already checked that with Triumph. So now I can just file it all the way, and we get ready for the next one. As far as the emails, I don't, dude, I don't have to drop them in each folder like JB Hunt in its own folder. This and Snyder in its own folder. CH Robinson. I don't have to do that. I have one folder now that says completed load. One folder. And I just drop them all in there. And that's it. And that's it. So we learn as we go as far as organization. And I think what works for me may work for me. What works for some may be a little bit different. But that's just a small tidbit. And I'll take a one day I'll take a picture of when he gets home because remember he's going to be out for about almost maybe a month at this time, unless he pops through again. Uh, I'm gonna take a picture of all of that and I'll drop it in the channel so you guys can see that it's a lot when he comes in, but I'm developing a system. Now that's for the truck, and it can get sometimes it's a little overwhelming if you got like some other things going on. Like throughout the day, he'll call me and be like, "Hey, babe, I'm going here, but the MapQuest isn't showing it. Do you got a second to pull this up?" Or, "Hey, I'm not. I need you to sign the sheet because I'm able to sign it. I'm trying to get this load, but I can't." So as a spouse, and I can say again, thank God. Well, no, we're not thanking God for COVID, but due to COVID, my company is no longer, I can work remote from home. I no longer have to drive into a center because all the centers were closed, due to COVID and stuff. So due to COVID, I'm at home, which gives me a little more flexibility on my breaks and lunch to where I can go to the printer, fax something over for him, print, sign something, make a phone call or help out. And they need that support out there. We need to support them if we can, if we're able. Now believe me, if I was at the center and I had to drive into a job all day and I was locked in there, I wouldn't have this flexibility, and we would just have to find another way to do it, whether it's putting a printer, a fax machine on that truck. We would definitely have to find a way. But if you're home and you're able to help out just a little bit to ease that off of them out there on the road, why not? Why not? And that's what I do. Because remember, it's a we. It's not an I. Like you handle that, and I handle the book. You handle that. I handle the expenses from the book. No. It's like a we. We're gonna do this together, and we signed up for it together. So why not we do it together? So that's where we're at. So if I can help out a little bit, and he calls and says, "Hey, I need you. Can you got a minute to sign this on your break or something like that?" Yeah, why not do it? It's us. So that is kind of what's going on this week. A little bit about organization. I did a little video thing on organization. So I'll drop that in later on this week also. It kind of gives a slight overview. And remember, what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. But if we can get a little tidbit from each other, like share your views of how you stay organized in your day to day. If we can get a little bit, that helps. As far as the book, how I stay organized with that stuff, I'm still working on that. I'm not gonna say it's a lot, but I'm still kind of trying to find a balance, and that with my regular, 9 to 5, because I want to get out there and speak at a lot more events. Oh my God, guys, this weekend, whoa, It was awesome. The women's brunch in Buckeye, it was awesome. I had no idea. They had dancers there that were just like, wow. Like I needed to get out there. And actually one lady I reached out to, they do their little step thing on step classes on during the week. I might even join in on one of those kind of little bit of exercise. But the the speakers, there was a lady there speaking on domestic violence. There was a lady there speaking on behavioral health, and then, of course, me, your girl, speaking on the wife of a truck driver, life behind the scenes, what we go through. And I didn't even intend, I took a couple of books with me because I kind of like to hand out, um, hand out like one to the coordinators and stuff. But I actually sold a book. One lady, when I went and bought an item from her, because there was vendors there too, I went and bought a glass from her. She makes these glass things, and she said, she goes, "You were speaking to me," and I was like, "Oh my God!" She goes, "You were speaking to you spoke about my life," and and I just said, "Oh my God!" I just couldn't believe it. She goes, "My husband's a truck driver, and I related to everything you talked about." She goes, I related to everything you talked about. And it was just amazing to hear it come from someone else that, I'm not alone. And I was just so moved. She goes, I thank you so much. She goes, I am going to follow you. So when I went over and I told her, you know what? That means a lot. I gave a hug. I said, we are here to support each other. And I was going to give her one of my books because she is the wife of a driver. And I'm like, you know what? I've been blessed. Let me bless somebody else. And she said, no, I'm not gonna buy your book. How much? And I was just like, okay. So I told her how much and she paid me for the book. And I gave her a card. I said, let's keep in touch. She goes, I'm gonna follow you. And I can't wait to tell my husband that I am not alone. And I was just like, oh my God, it was just so moving. And that meant a lot. If you go out to these events and you meet somebody and you speak, and for her to come to me at that, and I didn't even know I was actually supporting her by buying one of her custom glasses that she made that were so adorable. For her to say that, it was just because you don't know who you're speaking to in this audience, and it was just so amazing. I talked to a couple other people who daughters and are married to drivers or who husbands used to be, and it was just wow. It really moved me. So I'm not sure. I still have something coming up with that African American women in the trucking industry coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm waiting on the date to where I'm gonna meet with them, and we're gonna do our interview and get that out there. But I am on their website fully, and then like I said, we're gonna be busy in the next few weeks, just personally. It's summertime, and guys, George tells me plan a trip. And you guys know he does not do that often because if the wheels aren't model, if he doesn't have enough if there's not enough money in the bank to cover the household expenses, he's like, okay, I can't. He actually told me to plan a trip. I told him don't play with me, and I'll let you guys know where we're going later. But he actually told me to plan a trip, and I was like, don't play with me. I said, you have a flight credit, we got some points, we got some hotel points. Where do you want to go? He told me where he wants to go, and I said, don't play with me. And he was like, I'm not playing with you. Plan the trip. I said, during what week? He told me the week. I planned the trip. I called him back 15. I said, okay, gotta go. I called him back like 20 minutes later and I was just like, it's done. Check your email. And he just fell out laughing. He was like, wow, you don't play. I'm like, no, for you to tell me to plan a trip, it's done. Don't play with me. It's done. So I will share with you guys later on in the next couple of weeks where we're going in July. But we are doing that camping trip Father's Day weekend, and then I have my friend's wedding in a couple of weeks. So, but I thank you guys. Remember, stop in, continue your questions and comments coming. Remember to hit the thing to like, subscribe, comment, and continue to follow me. Thank you guys so much for following us on the YouTube and the Instagram and the Facebook. And the company, A Lighter Love Load LLC, that is still out there. It's blooming. It's taken as baby steps, stride, but it's out there too. So continue to follow that. The website, A Lighter Load org. It's there. It is there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. I will definitely reach out soon and keep those question comments coming. Bye bye.